how was yesterday's quiz?
Easy, alhamdulillah.
Was easy, alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah, in both grammar and literature, am I right?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
all.
Yeah, alhamdulillah.
Yeah, good. Alhamdulillah. It's just that that you got used to to this online tests and quizzes. Your eyes already got used to it. You got used to it, so you became better, mashallah. So I'm really proud of the results, or like your results and your efforts. You did a great job, and I'm really thankful for that. So
I
much.
have a question.
Sure.
Will the final exams be in the school or they will be online like even the year?
Well, we are waiting for the coming instructions from the Ministry of Education, but so far, as already been explained, the all the exams and quizzes must be online. But anyways, just wait for the schools and ministries instructions.
Okay, thanks.
You're most welcome. The good news is we're almost done with the semester. Like we have 3 weeks left, and that will be everything for our first semester. So how fast it went, subhanallah. Like may Allah grant us all like safety and good health, and hope to see you sound and well. Like see you soon, inshallah. Maybe if not in the second semester, then most probably in um like the coming year. And I really want to get to know you, grade 7, to know you in person, I mean. Well, um, starting our class for today, let's just start sharing the screen. And here we go. In dark, they were in golden eyed. Can you see the screen?
Yes.
The
Yes.
website? Yep. Okay, so yeah, last time in our last class of Dark They Were in Golden Night, we were talking about a family uh, who once reached Mars. And we talked that this kind of story is considered to be a science fiction in which the events, the characters, and the setting, everything in the story is not like 100% to be true. It's not believable, it's magical, it's fictional, and but it only depends on some scientific facts, and they got the ideas from there. Like the only scientific fact is that Mars is a planet and it may have some source of or some sort of life in there, but we don't have a proof yet. This is what we mean by science fiction. The science fiction stories are the ones that relate to aliens, outer space, and other creatures that are made or created by science, and all of these things. Um, as a mind refresher, or as a, like in order to refresh our memory, let me tell you in short a short quick summary of the events. The story is written by Red Bradbury. It's called Dark They Were in Golden Night. So Ray Bradbury's short story Dark They Were in Golden Night takes place on Mars. A family arrives from Earth as colonists. Harry, who's the father, is uneasy from the beginning. And shortly after the family arrives, they get news that nuclear war has broken out on Earth. They are stranded on Mars. Soon, the plans they brought with them from Earth seem to be changing in small ways, and Harry fears that the seemingly extinct Martian natives might still exist somewhere on the planet. He becomes terribly afraid of some infection or influence that will change everything in the family cares about. So here in the story, we are talking about many conflicts or many problems that keep happening through the story and through the events of the story. Who remembers which paragraph we stopped at last time? Who remembers?
Miss, I think I do.
Me
Yeah.
too. I do.
It was like a paragraph 8.
It was about paragraph 8. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true. In paragraph 8, we were like starting from paragraph 1 to paragraph 8, we were just describing the setting, the characters, and the feelings of the characters, if you remember. And we had the first word, which was submerged, and we said submerged means covered.
Submerged. Adjective. Covered over.
That's in paragraph 8, and we said that sub means under. So if I say submarine, then I mean the ship that goes underwater. Subway, I mean the train that goes under the road, and so on. You keep coming in and out. So let's continue listening, and we again, as a quick refresh, a quick reminder of the events. Again, we're saying that the main characters of the story, I mean, the father, most probably, or like originally, the father is a little bit scared, and he's always worried of the change. He doesn't really accept to be living on Mars. This is why he wants to go back. So he's the only. Can someone tell Afnan which page is it? Girls?
Sorry, teacher, I don't have the chat.
Me
It's
too,
page
but I think it's 127. It's like 128.
What do you mean by you think? Don't you have the book in front of
Yes,
you?
I have the book. Yes, I have.
128.
But I'm on page 128.
Page 127. 28, sorry.
28. 128. 128. Okay. So again, going back to the events of the story. The father seems to be the only character who's not feeling comfortable, or who's not really happy about traveling to Mars. And he compared, like, there were lots of similes and metaphors in this in the paragraphs that shows that he is not feeling secure on this planet. Let's just skip the first minute. See.
A man, a woman, and 3 children. The other passengers whispered away across the Martian meadow, leaving the man alone among his family.
Okay, now we start reading paragraph 2. Again, this is just as a fresh reminder, and we will continue listening to the text.
The man felt his hair flutter and the tissues of his body draw tight, as if he were standing at the center of a vacuum. His wife before him seemed almost to whirl away in smoke. The children, small seeds, might at any instant be sown to all the Martian climes.
Okay, this paragraph 2, has a metaphor. He's comparing the children to small seeds. Who remembers what I mean by metaphor? And what's the difference between a metaphor and a simile? Who remembers? Grade 7?
teacher, I do.
Miss, you said written?
What my answer?
Who remembers the difference between a simile and a metaphor?
I do.
Go.
Miss, I do.
Is it Lamia?
Yes.
Yes, go Lamia.
Metaphor and the simile are both used to compare humans with the non-living things, but the difference is that in the simile we use as or like to compare. In the metaphor we don't use them. We use only words, other words.
Yes, perfect. Very good, Lamia. So in this comparison, he compared the comparison that appears in the second paragraph. Again, we said it shows the mood of the text. It shows tense. He's not easygoing. He's not happy, and he's not feeling satisfied. He is also comparing his children to small seeds and this is a metaphor. So children, small seeds, showing how tiny and fragile they are, um, compared to the circumstances and compared to the planet they're on. Let's continue in paragraph 3.
The children looked up at him, as people look to the sun to tell what time of their life it is. His face was cold. "What's wrong?" asked his wife. "Let's get back on the rocket." "Go back to Earth?" "Yes, listen." The wind blew as if to flake away their identities. At any moment the Martian air might draw his soul from him, as marrow comes from a white bone. He felt submerged in a chemical that could dissolve his intellect and burn away his past. He
Paragraph
looked at
9.
Martian hills that time had worn with a crushing pressure of years. They saw the old cities lost in their meadows, lying like children's delicate bones among the blowing lakes of grass. Chin up, Harry.
Okay, so an evidence that life existed on Mars before they arrived is that the old cities. This is a proof of life, that life existed before their arrival. Life existed on Mars before their arrival. Since there were old cities, it means that other people or other creatures lived in that place. It means that other creatures lived in that place. It means that someone built those cities. Am I right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes,
so if I ask a question, were they the first people to live on Mars?
No.
No, they're not the first to live on Mars. It means that other creatures were there because we have old cities in that place. Let's continue reading paragraph 10.
Said his wife. "It's too late. We've come over 60 million miles." The children with their yellow hair hollered at the deep dome of Martian sky. There was no answer but the racing hiss of wind through the stiff grass. He picked up the luggage in his cold hands. "Here we go," he said. A man standing on the edge of a sea, ready to wade in and be drowned. They walked into town. Their name was Bittering. Harry and his wife, Cora, Dan, Laura, and David. They built a small white cottage and ate good breakfasts there, but the fear was never gone. It lay with Mr. Bittering and Mrs. Bittering, a third unbidden partner at every midnight talk, at every dawn awakening. "I feel like a salt crystal," he said, "in a mountain stream being washed away. We don't belong here. We're Earth people. This is Mars. It was meant for Martians. For heaven's sake, Cora, let's buy tickets for home."
Okay. These words said by the father, Mr. Bittering. How many members are there in this character? How many characters in this family?
5.
5 characters.
5.
What are the names of them? What are
Cora,
the names?
the mother.
Cora, the
Um,
mother.
The mother.
Harry, the father,
Harry, the father.
Harry Bittering,
Harry
the father.
Bittering, the father. Correct.
One of the son, Dan. One of the
Dan,
sons.
Laura,
the
David,
daughter Laura,
Laura, David.
and David. So they have 2 boys, 1 girl, Dan, David, and Laura. Excellent. Look at this. In paragraph 15, I want you to write this, how Harry feels. Write this question next to paragraph 15. How Harry feels. Can you see the screen? My screen.
Yes, I think we wrote it before because of me it's wrote.
How Harry feels, the author might have included these details at this point of the story to create tension. Like the excessive details, like he keeps telling that it's windy, it's always windy. And he keeps mentioning the main character's feeling that he is afraid. He doesn't like it. So this is this creates tension most of the time. Okay, so this creates tension. This makes people go a little bit afraid of what's going on. This is what we mean by indirect characterization. Do you remember characterization? I mean, giving the description of the character, but not directly. You do the characterization, or like you tell the character's actions, and then you are supposed to figure out the description of the character. Yani, for example, if I say, Miss Hadir keeps ticking with a pen almost all the time, this means that she is a nervous person. My point, this is what I mean by indirect characterization. Another
Direct characterization is showing a character's trait through their action or the other people's response.
excellent. So the character is expressing his feelings about not belonging on Mars instead of the narrator telling us about the feelings. Good. This is paragraph 15. Paragraph 16.
But she only shook her head. One day the atom bomb will fix Earth. Then we'll be safe here. Safe and insane. Tick-tock, 7 o'clock, sang the voice clock. Time to get up. And they did. Something made him check everything each morning. Warm hearth, potted blood geraniums, precisely as if he expected something to be amiss. The morning paper was toast warm from the 6 a.m. Earth rocket. He broke its seal and tilted it at his breakfast place. He forced himself to be convivial. Colonial days all over again, he declared. Why, in 10 years there'll be 1 million Earthmen on Mars. Big cities, everything. They said we'd fail. Said the Martians would resent our invasion. But did we find any Martians? Not a living soul. Oh, we found their empty cities, but no one in them, right? A river of...
So now they are there. Like, people on Earth kept saying, don't go to Mars because Martian people will go and kill all of you. But so far, they haven't seen any Martian people. They only saw the old cities, but empty ones. They haven't seen any Martian person so far. So they are now Earth people invading Mars.
submerged the house. When the windows ceased rattling, Mr. Bittering swallowed and looked at the children. I don't know, said David. Maybe there are Martians around we don't see. Sometimes nights I think I hear 'em. I hear the wind. The sand hits my window. I get scared. And I see those towns way up in the mountains where the Martians lived a long time ago. And I think I see things moving around those towns, Papa. And I wonder if those Martians mind us living here. I wonder if they won't do something to us for coming here. Nonsense. Mr. Bittering looked out the windows. We're clean, decent people. He looked at his children. All dead cities have some kind of ghosts in them. Memories, I mean. He stared at the hills. You see a staircase and you wonder what Martians looked like climbing it. You see Martian paintings and you wonder what the painter was like. You make a little ghost in your mind, a memory. It's quite natural. Imagination. He stopped. You haven't been prowling up in those ruins, have you? No, Papa. David looked at his shoes. See that you stay away from them. Past the jam. Just the same, said little David. I bet something happens. Something happened that afternoon. Laura stumbled.
Okay, before we go to what happened that afternoon, someone is trying to get in. Yes, Tala. Okay. So before we go with the text, so the conversation between the father and his son. As you already know, the characters of fathers in general, they never show their fear. Did you notice? Like, he is already afraid. He is not feeling secure. He's not okay with the with being on Mars, and he wanted to go back from the very first beginning. But when his son started saying that he himself is being afraid, and sometimes he imagines the Martian people move in the old cities, the father seemed to be like comforting him, seemed to be taking or like being easy on him. He said there's no one in there and they all disappeared. And it's only about his imagination. So he's only imagining Martian people exist because they don't exist anymore. And they have been living on Mars for a quite some time and they haven't seen any Martian person moving here or there. So he's trying to comfort his son, but is he totally convinced with what he's saying?
Can I?
Yeah.
No.
No.
No, teacher, because he himself is afraid.
Yes, he himself is afraid. He himself is terrified. Maybe his son's speech or his son's words like scare him a little bit, but he have to appear or he has to appear as if he is a courageous
Brave.
person and brave person in front of his son. Because if he appears to be scared, his sons will be scared as well. And he wants to make them feel peaceful.
Yes.
So, paragraph 7. Let's see what happened that afternoon.
Settlement crying. She dashed blindly onto the porch. Mother, father, the war, Earth, she sobbed. A radio flash just came. Atom bombs hit New York. All the space rockets blown up. No more rockets to Mars, ever.
Okay,
Oh,
paragraph 29. Now, we're having a big problem. Now, underline paragraph 29. What happens in here is this. They were there on Mars. They were there on Mars, and like they do have the doubts and they have the feeling that if they felt danger or they wanted to go back to Earth, they can go whenever they want, right? They can book ticket and go back to Earth. Is that right?
Yeah, they felt like that before.
Yes, I felt like
They,
Yes.
they felt like that at the beginning. Now something happened. The radio signal came back from Earth saying that atom bombs hit New York. Not only hit New York, but it also destroyed all the space rockets. So their only hope of going to Earth has been destroyed. So now they are trapped on Mars. They can never go back. So the atom bombs hit New York and all the space rockets blown up. No more rockets to Mars ever. Paragraph 29. Write a short note. They
Miss, I just
are.
have a question. Did you write anything?
I am writing now. Can
Okay.
you see?
Yes. No, yes.
No, so I'll stop sharing the screen and I'll start sharing it again. Okay, this. Okay. Can you see the screen now? Paragraph 29.
Yes.
Yes. So, as we said at the beginning, yes, they were scared, they were afraid, they didn't feel safe on Mars, but if they continued living in this case or in this state, they would easily book a ticket and go back to Earth. Now we have a different problem. Now, all the rockets were destroyed on Earth because of the massive war that is happening on Earth. So they are now trapped on Mars. Yani, in other words, they cannot go back to Earth because all the rockets have been destroyed because of the war. So imagine, how will they feel? What do you think, grade 7?
They aren't lucky at all.
What else?
Can I?
Yes. But before we go, let me answer Durer's question. Durer, it's not real. We're talking about science fiction. So since it's a science fiction, it means that it's not real. So girls, how did they feel?
I think they became a little
Can
more
I?
scared than before.
Can
A
I?
little what?
More scared than before. They,
More scared than before. That's true.
But
Of course, they are
teacher,
definitely.
surprised.
Miss, I think they felt hopeless.
Yes, helpless,
For me?
hopeless,
No,
very
Miss,
terrified, and like most probably they are like hopeless. They
But
were,
not the father. The father didn't lose hope till the day that he completely changed to another person.
well, that's still uh
Yes,
to be coming. But so far, if you were in their place,
I would
if
have
you,
cried.
I
I
will
would
be panicking.
have cried.
yes, this is exactly the
Panicking.
word I'm looking for.
I will
People
be
or
panicking forever.
normal people will panic. Like imagine that you are, for example, going to a whole new city, and suddenly they tell you that all the airplanes have been destroyed, and you are trapped in the airport, for example, and you cannot go anywhere. How would you feel? You will get panic. You will get afraid. You'll be
I'll be
scared.
afraid and I will panic.
But teacher, it's not the same.
Miss, yeah, an airport is a little bit more peaceful and more comfortable than being on Mars, another whole
Yes,
planet.
so imagine this is, I'm just giving an example about your feeling, and imagine being on a whole new planet and
But
you're already not feeling secure on that
but
planet.
teacher, I have a question.
Yes.
But even if they went to Earth, they will be still actually in danger because how did the rockets bomb? They bombed because of atom bombs. That mean that the Earth is still in war. So how did they think of getting back to Earth in this like moments?
How will they survive the
Yes.
atomic bomb?
It's more
The thing
dangerous
is that
actually.
the thing is that they left Earth in the first place because of the war and because of the atom war that was happening on Earth. This was the main reason that pushed them out of Earth in the first place. Now they are on a new planet all by themselves, totally unaware of what's coming in front of them, and there are only few families there, not like Earth people, not like millions of people. There are only few families, and let's continue listening.
Harry! The mother held on to her husband and daughter. Are you sure, Laura? Asked the father quietly. Laura wept. We're stranded on Mars forever and ever. For a long time, there was only the sound of the wind in the late afternoon. Alone, thought Bittering. Only 1,000 of us here. No way back. No way. No way. Sweat poured from his face and his hands and his body. He was drenched in the hotness of his fear. He wanted to strike Laura, cry, "No, you're lying. The rockets will come back." Instead, he stroked Laura's head against him and said, "The rockets will get through someday." Father, what'll we do?
Okay. So now Bittering, I mean Harry Bittering is conflicted. He feels the conflict. He is afraid, but he's also trying to reassure his daughter. Like, I want you to write this next to paragraph 34. You can see the screen, right? You can see the note.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Now, here we're having this, what we call it, an internal conflict. Someone is raising a hand. Um, yeah. Okay. So this is what we mean by internal conflict, like the struggle that happens within his own character, like the feelings he has about being on Mars. So Butterring is conflicted. He's afraid, but he is also trying to reassure his daughter. And I also think the fragments and the repetition speed the action and add to the tension. Like, look, no way, no way back, no way, no way. So all of these are fragments. Do you know what I mean by fragments?
Like a non-complete sentence or
Excellent. Excellent. Now, girls, I want you to understand this. When writers use fragments in a paragraph or in a story or in a novel, they do this because they want to speed up the text. They want to make it fast. They want to make it tension. So they want you as a reader to feel tense. Everything has a purpose in writing. They don't really make grammar mistakes. They do it for a reason. So fragments, grammatically or from the grammar point of view, that's totally wrong. That's incorrect, and we cannot have fragments in writing. But when we do this in writing, in a story, this is what we call it the author's license. Let me write it here in the whiteboard. Can you see the whiteboard?
No, teacher.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
Yes, you see it now, right?
Miss, sometimes when the reader writes a fragment sentence, they really want our attention and they want us to feel curious about the story and want us to read more.
Yes, that's true. Now, I want you to keep this in mind because I will explain it once and for all. We have what we call it the author's license. The author's license in grade 7 is when the author is being allowed to use or to make grammatical mistakes. Of course, these grammatical mistakes are going to be counted as grammar mistake if you are a student. Okay, so um, the license of the author or the writer's license is what we say it allows you as an author, only as an author, to make spelling mistakes and to make grammatical mistakes in order to make it to increase the suspense, in order to create tension, in order to make the readers feel what's happening or what's going in there. So I'll write it here. Um, so
Miss, your screen is
teacher. Sorry for
frozen.
the disturbing, but are you writing something because it is
I
stuck?
am
The whiteboard is
I
stuck.
am now. Like I'm writing the word license.
Oh yeah.
Oh, okay.
I can't see it.
You can or you can't.
Can.
Now I can.
Can.
Okay. So the author's license is the approval or the permission that has been given to the authors in order to make spelling mistakes or grammatical mistakes. So the approval is, I'm writing something now. Can you see it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
So this is the approval that an author or a writer gets in order to make few mistakes in grammar and spelling. In grammar and spelling for literary purposes. purposes. Yani, what do I mean by this? It means that they can use fragments. Yani, they can use fragments. They can use fragments. They can. What do I mean by fragments? I mean incomplete sentences.
Miss,
Yes.
what's the word after for in the last sentence?
For literary purposes,
Okay, thank you.
like purposes or reasons that are related to literature. So they can use fragments. They can use dialects. They can also use or write in accents or dialects, for example. And as an example, for example, if you have heard or you've seen a movie that talks about the American Southwest, people of Texas, and so, and instead of saying how are you,
Because I think they say how are y'all?
or they say Audi,
Howdy.
right?
Yeah.
So some authors may use the word Audi instead of how are you or how do you do or all of these stuff. They say Audi. So if we say this in a paragraph or an essay, that will be considered as a mistake or a spelling mistake. But if an author uses it, if an author uses it in a text, this means that we have used the author's license. They do this in order to make you or to grab you more into the events of the story. Is it now clear? Is it now clear? Yes.
Yes, teacher.
Yes.
Thank
Going back to the text. In paragraph 34,
Wait, just 1 second.
sure, would you like me to go back to the screen, to the whiteboard?
Yes.
Yes, if you please.
Yes, here we are.
Sometimes in a movie, they sometimes use a different accent for.
Yes,
Well-
movies are always like a way to represent the feelings of the author. They want to show you the setting, the space and place and everything. But when I talk about literature, I mean something that is written. This means the author's license.
Yeah. Okay, thank you.
You're most welcome.
Thank you, teacher. I finished.
I finished. Thank you.
Most welcome. So shall we go back to the text?
Yes, sure.
Yes, you
Yes.
can.
So next to paragraph 34, now we're having a conflict. This is the first conflict in our story, or not really the first conflict, but this is one of the most famous conflicts in the story, in which he is afraid. I mean, Harry Pittering, the father, is afraid, but at the same time, he cannot show his scaredness, or like he can show his.
Miss,
He only appears to be confident.
Miss, I'm sorry
Yes?
for interrupting, but your sound lagged so much.
Really?
Yeah.
In the last part, so can you repeat it?
Yes, sure. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, it's better now.
Yes, good. So I was saying that Harry Pittering is very afraid, very tense, but at the same time, he cannot show his feelings to his family. So he's only trying to reassure his daughter. The usage of fragments, and I want you to write this. The usage of fragments and repetition speed the action and add tension. Can you see the note?
Yep.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah.
teacher.
So the fragments and repetition of few words like no way back, no way, no way. This speeds the action and adds more tension to the events. The language of this paragraph shows two purposes or two reasons. It shows his panic, and especially using the word no for many times, and it shows his inner conflict. So again, right next to paragraph 34, that the, the, the language shows two purposes. The first one, it shows his panic by using the word no many times. And at the same time, it shows his inner conflict. Have you written this?
I'm still writing.
Okay, take down some notes.
Miss, can you like get back to the first sentence in the note?
Okay, I will. Durer, what do you mean by when are we done? With the class? Our class is 1 hour.
I think she doesn't know when it's the time when the class is finished.
We end the class at 10:30. Is it here, starting from the fragments?
Like starting from the top halls, yeah.
Bittering is conflicted?
Yes.
Yes. But try to take down the note, try to make it quick.
Sorry, teacher, but can you get down a little bit more?
Sure.
Please.
I think the fragments and repetition speed the action and add to tension.
Can anyone hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Okay, now I want you to write the language shows two purposes. It shows panic and using no for several times shows his inner conflict. Write this, what you have in front of you. Done? Are we done? Grade 7?
Yeah.
Yes. So this is of paragraph 34. Now we are having a completely different change or something that that has just happened with the events. Now they cannot go back, and now they started facing their own feelings.
Go about our business, of course. Raise crops and children. Wait. Keep things going until the war ends and the rockets come again. The two boys stepped out onto the porch. Children, he said, sitting there looking beyond them, I've something to tell you. We know, they said. In the following days, Bittering wandered often through the garden to stand alone in his fear. As long as the rockets had spun a silver web across space, he had been able to accept Mars, for he had always told himself, tomorrow, if I want, I can buy a ticket and go back to Earth. But now, the web gone, the rockets lying in jigsaw heaps of molten girder and unsnaked wire, Earth people left to the strangeness of Mars, the cinnamon dusts and wine airs, to be baked like gingerbread shapes in Martian summers, put into harvested storage by Martian winters. What would happen to him, the others? This was the moment Mars had waited for. Now it would eat them.
Okay. Now wait up here for a second. This I want you to write next to paragraph 41. Write descriptive language. descriptive language. What do I mean by descriptive language? The descriptive language, grade 7, has lots and lots and lots of adjectives and descriptions. They describe the air, they describe the dust, they describe the feelings, they describe the emotions, they describe, like, keep describing. The descriptive language adds suspense. It makes you more into the events. It draws your attention. It makes you feel as if you are one of the characters. This is what I mean by descriptive language. So again, the descriptive language builds suspense because it emphasizes on the destruction that has taken place on Earth and how cut off from Earth they are. So they are now stranded. They have no hope to go back. The descriptive details makes you, as a reader, be into the events of the story. Like you feel as if you are one of the characters.
Got down on his knees in the flower bed, a spade in his nervous
For those who felt a little bit lost, we just finished paragraph 41 and we are starting paragraph 42.
hands. Work, he thought. Work and forget. He glanced up from the garden to the Martian mountains. He thought of the proud old Martian names that had once been on those peaks. Earthmen, dropping from the sky, had gazed upon hills, rivers, Martian seats left nameless in spite of names. Once, Martians had built cities, named cities, climbed mountains, named mountains, sailed seas, named seas. Mountains melted, seas drained, cities tumbled. In spite of this, the Earthmen had felt a silent guilt at putting new names to these ancient hills and valleys. Nevertheless, man lives by symbol and label. The names were given.
Okay, who can explain what happens in here? Who can explain this? Let me check. Are you raising a hand or something? Yes. Nur Hassan. No, not Nur. Okay, Sulef. What do you think, Sulef? What he means by this?
She said for her children, we can come for any time to the herd, but not now.
In
Yani
this,
we can go back to the herd, but not now.
well, not this. He was thinking, like Harry Bittering was thinking, that the Martian people, or like the people who were on Mars before them, the original people of Mars, were there and they had their own names of the cities, they had their own names of the rivers, of the seas, of the mountains. They had named everything. But when we, people from Earth, invaded Mars, we changed everything. We changed the original names of the cities. We changed the original names of the mountains. We changed the original names of the hills and the seas and everything. So far we made lots of change that we even made them disappear. It shows that he's trying to tell that how cruel we are. We're just visiting a place and now we're changing everything, including the original names.
Mr. Bittering felt very, very alone in
This is paragraph 45.
his garden under the Martian sun. Anachronism bent here, planting earth flowers in a wild soil. Think, keep thinking, different things. Keep your mind free of Earth, the atom war, the lost rockets. He perspired. He glanced about. No one watching. He removed his tie. Pretty bold, he thought. First your coat off, now your tie. He hung it neatly on a peach tree he had imported as a sapling from Massachusetts. He returned to his philosophy of names and mountains. The Earthmen had changed names. Now there were Hormel Valleys, Roosevelt Seas, Ford Hills, Vanderbilt Plateaus, Rockefeller Rivers on Mars. It wasn't right. The American settlers had shown wisdom, using old Indian prairie names: Wisconsin, Minnesota, Idaho, Ohio, Utah, Milwaukee, Waukegan, Osseo. The old names, the old meanings.
Now, he's comparing what they did to Mars, like what Earth people had done to Mars, to what the American first settlers have done to when they arrived America. The old people, or the old American people, when they arrived to the land, to the new land of America, what they did was that they didn't change the original names. They didn't change the Indian names. They kept it as they are. Wisconsin, Minnesota, Idaho, all of these are cities and places in the United States that were named originally by the Indians in the America. They didn't change anything. But when the modern generation moved to Mars, they changed all the original names to their own names. They changed them into, like, they named them after their own presidents and so. So here in this paragraph, he's saying that they caused a lot of damage even with the names. They changed the old Martian names into new American names, and this cannot be true. This cannot be correct. He says the old names, old meanings. If you change the old name, it means it's no longer meaningful. It no longer has the same taste. Do you understand what I'm trying to say?
Yes, teacher.
Yes,
Yes, Miss.
Yes.
But
good.
I want to tell you, it's actually in the chat. She wanted to tell you that happened. Me, aunt, me,
That
and my family missed the plane, and we were stuck there for another day. I think
sorry
she's
again.
in.
Yes, I wanted to tell you that happened to me once. Me and my family missed a plane and we were stuck there for another day. That's scary, isn't it?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, that's very scary. So imagine being on another planet, a completely different planet, and you are only 1,000 person on that whole planet. Now imagine we are billions of people on planet Earth. Imagine you're only 1,000 person on Mars and you barely know one another. So, and you cannot go back. This is very scary. This is very scary and confusing. Paragraph
Staring at the mountains
49.
wildly, he thought, "Are you up there, all the dead ones, you Martians? Well, here we are, alone, cut off. Come down, move us out. We're helpless." The wind blew a shower of peach blossoms. He put out his sun-browned hand and gave a small cry. He touched the blossoms and picked them up. He turned them. He touched them again and again. Then he shouted for his wife. "Cora!" She appeared at a window. He ran to her. "Cora, these blossoms." She handled them. "Do you see? They're different. They've changed. They're not peach blossoms anymore." "Look all right to me," she said. "They're not. They're wrong. I can't tell how. An extra petal, a leaf, something. The color, the smell."
Okay. Now here he started noticing something, and the rest of his family cannot notice this thing. What's the first thing that he noticed, girls?
The color of the blossom.
The blossom.
He felt something started to change with the blossoms, but he cannot tell what actually changed.
Oh, sorry, I just again.
So starting from paragraph 54 until 58, I want you to write down this note. The plants are beginning to change. The plants are beginning to change. Harry, this upsets Harry, but doesn't seem to bother Cora. She doesn't also notice the change. So now Harry is the first one to notice the change. Characters reacting to the same event or situation differently can create tension in the story. You will feel tense when he sees something and his wife doesn't see the same thing. He is nervous, but she is not. This makes you, as a reader, nervous as well. So we stopped at paragraph 58. We will continue tomorrow, inshallah. But I want you to take down this note that starting like from paragraph 54, things start to change.
Miss, can
Like
you go up?
yes, they got those plants from Earth, but they planted it on Martian land. صح? They put it in Mars soil, the soil of Mars. They plant it there on Mars, but they brought it from Earth. Now Harry started to notice the change. Something different, something weird started to happen. He feels that the blossoms changed, but he cannot tell what kind of change has happened. His wife, Cora, doesn't agree with him, and she says that nothing had changed. That's it for today. It's 10:31. We have to end our class, and we will continue tomorrow, inshallah. Thank you so much. See you tomorrow. Continue our story tomorrow, inshallah.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Wa alaikum salam. Enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Enjoy the rest of your day too.